Chris, it'd be pathetic. He should be less focused on trying to blame this on someone else than to solving the problem of making sure that we protect and defend American security. Chris, it's worth noting, this did not happen on our watch. We reduced our forces significantly, and the Taliban didn't advance on capitals all across Afghanistan. So it's just a plain old fact that this is happening under the Biden administration's leadership now.
Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo calling out Joe Biden for blaming the Trump administration for the plan to withdraw troops from Afghanistan. Pathetic, doesn't cover it. Many Americans agree with Pompeo. Latest poll results from Trafalgar Group and the Convention of States shows 69.3% of overall disapprove of Biden's moves in Afghanistan. Joining me now to discuss is the author of The Coming Collapse of China, along with the greatest U.S.-China tech war, Gordon Chang. Gordon, both of those books, prized books. I encourage everybody to look at them. Welcome back to you. We'll get to Communist China here in a moment, but first, your reaction to what we've seen in Biden's breathtaking miscalculation on Afghanistan.
Well, his speech today to the American public was extremely disappointing. It just would have been much better if he said, "This is my policy. I executed it poorly. It's my mistake." Instead, as Secretary Pompeo said, he's trying to blame everybody else for this. And the American public just saw a failure of leadership. American presidents make mistakes. They all do. But really, it's the reaction that the public looks at. And what we saw today was, as you said, pathetic.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mr. Pompeo as well. China quickly offering friendship and cooperation to the radicalized Islamic fundamentalist terrorists today. Team Biden's know-nothing millennials, they were the ones, who are really in charge of this administration. They begged and they pleaded with Communist China not to do this. How significant is it that the world's most inhuman regime is now teaming up with one of the world's most notorious terrorist groups?
It's been doing this for a very long time, Chris. China actually had robust relations with the Taliban, both immediately before and immediately after 9/11. Now, the administration of George W. Bush chose to ignore that. But nonetheless, this is consistent Chinese policy. So it's not only a question of Chinese relations with some of the worst elements in the world, it's a story of America just ignoring it. And we should ignore it no more.
China's state media mocking the United States, as they typically do, and our troop withdrawal here out of Afghanistan, saying the Taliban's takeover of the country was smoother than the presidential transfer of power in the United States. Of course, they're mocking liberty and freedom, as communists always do. Biden really has made us a laughingstock across the world, no?
Yes, and the reason why this is important is because China or Russia or Iran or North Korea or their terrorist allies or all of them all together are going to test the Biden administration. They see it as weakened, and I think that they're going to see how far they can push the United States. This is their method of operation, and so we've got to be concerned that the upcoming months are going to be some of the most dangerous times in history.
No, I concur. And before I get to my last question to you, I want you to expand on that. How worried are you that this current administration, made up of those who are making the decisions, obviously not Mr. Biden, and even if it was Biden at the top of his game, he has still been wrong on every foreign policy decision, major foreign policy decision of the last 40 years concerning the United States. So how concerned are you that with this feckless and know-nothing administration that China will do some real damage, not only to our standing around the world, but also to Americans' day-to-day lives?
Oh, certainly. When we saw that China's top two diplomats go to Anchorage in the middle of March, they actually said the U.S. is no longer in a position to talk to China from a position of strength. And that was saying, they were saying to us that deterrence is breaking down. Now, after just what happened in Kabul, which was disgraceful, ignominious, I'm afraid that Beijing is going to try it, because this is what China does. It always presses the advantage, Chris. So we've got to be prepared that something horrible is going to occur, and it's going to occur soon.
Yeah, as Ronald Reagan said, America has never gotten into a war because we were too strong. Communist China, they still have yet to answer for their human rights abuses concerning the Uyghur population. Now we're hearing young Chinese woman. She's come out and said that she was detained as a prisoner for 8 days at a secret Chinese-run detention facility in Dubai. And while she was there, she saw a lot more of the Uyghurs being held. Gordon, what do you make of this story?
Well, China obviously has black jails, and it's not just in Dubai. I think they probably have got them elsewhere, though we don't know that yet. But this makes it very dangerous for American citizens and for others because they can just be snatched off the streets. The other thing that was very interesting about this is not only that there were Uyghurs there, but that China tried to get this woman to actually complain about human rights activists. In other words, trying to cause turmoil in the dissident community. This is very, very cunning on the part of the Chinese, and we've got to make sure that we can counter this.
Yeah, cunning and typical of communists. Gordon Chang, always appreciate the time.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.